Well, it's a new week and we got some projects going on here. Last week, was a little slow, but this week we have my foundation company, it's called DBS, here working on getting my earth anchors in for my 2 walls in my basement. So that's really exciting. You'll see some footage from that here this week. And yeah, I'm sure some other things going on too, but that's kind of the big thing this week that has been in the works for a couple of months, kind of working on it, looking into it, and then scheduled for what, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. And now it's happening. So it's pretty exciting. And yeah, it just feels good to have that being done. Talked to the crew that's here. They have, they're already getting started here this morning, and just, looking at it, they're like, yep, this is definitely the way to go, and seem very positive about the project. So yeah, I'm gonna be here working while they're here, getting some boards down and other random things. So thanks for watching, and enjoy this week's video. So today, just having fun seeing the process of my foundation being fixed, getting these earth anchors put in. It's pretty cool. It looks simple, but they've got all the right tools to do it, so. So this is something that I was not expecting necessarily to happen today, so it's kind of cool that all the things are happening in one day. The foundation and an outlet on my pole. So now I have power here, a wonderful waterproof outlet, so I can run heavy duty extension cords to the house, to run power tools, to run a light if I need it, a heater, anything like that. So yeah, they came in and got it done, and didn't take them very long at all. So yay for things getting done. So you can see here that we've got a hole dug. They dig this long trench that's about 4 to 6 feet deep. And then on the inside of the basement, I'll show you what they do, but then they get this steel rebar post kind of jackhammered through the ground and put this plate on the outside, the anchor, put a nut on it, and then they'll start tightening it from the inside. So you can see how far it is from the house here. They do it about 12 feet out, so yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so here is the work that they did on the east wall. There are 4 anchors on this wall and then 1 on that little wall. And let's see if we can tell. I can visibly tell the difference of how it's pulled the wall in. I don't know if you guys can quite tell. It's still bowed some, which that was definitely something they expected, but you can definitely tell a difference too. So And then they will, as part of the plan, they come back in a year to tighten these more, as they will settle, the dirt will settle, and they'll be able to hopefully get the wall completely straight by doing that. So yeah, that's what it looks like. It's a beautiful fall day here, and I'm excited to be able to be over here at the house doing some work. Yesterday was not a bad day, but it was much windier and cooler. So it's great to be able to be here today. Yesterday, I took some time and went to the hardware store, to Menards, and did some shopping to prepare for my siding project. So I've been talking about this quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, making mention of it and things like that. And when my friend Erica was here a couple of weeks ago, we spent a good portion of the day working on scraping the house of paint, the front of the house. And so I just thought I'd kind of walk through kind of what my plan is there, show you what I got to work on that project. It is a big project, obviously. I mean, just getting the house painted is a project, but the preparation for that, there's a lot to it. I think I had mentioned at the end of last week's video that I had an electrician come and look at the house, and one of the things that he mentioned was that it needs to be completely buttoned up, watertight, before they could do electrical, or before I should do electrical, either way. And so that even more so pushed me to, okay, I really need to get the outside of the house figured out. So I had kind of a game plan, and like I said, here, I'll show you some of what I bought. I bought caulk. There are definitely a few spots as you're in the house, especially now that I've taken the boards down, where you can see sunlight coming through. Usually that's, I don't know, like a gap in the boards. So that will be something that I will caulk, and then around windows and trim and that kind of thing. And then the other main thing that I'm doing to the wood, there are some boards that will need to be replaced, and I haven't figured that piece of it out yet. It is not a standard board because the house is so old. So I need to do a little more research and see where I can get the boards that I need for it. But I'm trying not to let that slow me down and just keep moving ahead with the parts that I do know, and get done what I can get done. Hopefully that's a good plan. It's hard to know sometimes, but yeah, I feel like I have to move quickly because we're running out of warm weather here in Minnesota. Most of what I need to do, it needs to be temperatures of 40 degrees or higher, and then it can't be dropping into freezing temps in the next 24 hours. So, you know, as we get further into October, that's more of a concern. So I've got the caulk for actual cracks that are all the way through, you know, that aren't just surface level. And then some of the boards have just cracks in them. I'll show you that as I get to work here. So for that, I bought wood filler, which is for interior or exterior. It's stainable and paintable. It doesn't shrink or crack, and you can sand it. So it will dry as hard as wood, or, you know, supposed to be as hard as wood. But to fill in those cracks and get better coverage with my paint. So that's a piece to work on. And then, so we had done, like I said, the scraping of the paint. But I do want to just run some sandpaper over the boards too, just to make sure we've got off what needs to be gotten off. So I found this, it's a sanding block, and it's kind of unique because it's got this Velcro side basically. So then you buy the sandpaper that goes with it, and it sticks to the sanding block. So hopefully that works really slick and kind of speeds up the process. I don't plan to go crazy with the sanding, and that's because the product that I'm using for a primer, it's from Zinsser, and it's called Peel Stop Triple Thick, I believe is what it's called. I don't have it in front of me because I had to order it. They had gallons available at Menards, but not a 5-gallon bucket. So, but that product is made to work with old structures with old paint on them. So the goal is to get off as much as possible. But a lot of times when you're working with old wood like this, you can just keep going until, I mean, if some people would choose to power wash an old house to get all the old paint off. And I follow a group on Facebook called Our Old House, and have read multiple posts on there of professionals really telling people don't do that. Like, you can either completely ruin your siding, because a lot of old siding can't hold up to that kind of pressure, or the amount of water that soaks into your wood. It really should take a couple of weeks to fully dry out before it should be painted. Some professional painters don't adhere to those rules, so then people aren't aware that that's not a good idea. So yeah, I didn't want to go that route. So this, the Peel Stop option, sorry, it's a little windy. After researching different options, it just seemed like a really good choice. So that is what I will be using for a primer. And then I will most likely be using the paint that I used on the shed for a top coat. I was really happy with how it covered, and I still have most of a gallon left. I bought 2 gallons when I bought it for the shed. So progress on the thought process there. The one other thing that I bought was this all-purpose putty. Now this is a repair putty that's used to fill and patch cracks and gaps in both wood. They use it in metal, like in gutters, tile, brick, stone, a lot of things. But basically there's a putty that is the main product, but you add a, let's see, what do they call it? A hardener? Shoot, can't find it right now. But basically, it's another tube that you add to the putty. You knead it together, and then it can be used to fill actual rotted spots in wood. Now, I want to replace boards that are rotted, but I am not replacing my windows currently. Just the expense of and timing of when to do things. I don't plan to replace them at the moment, and there are multiple windows with some rotting on their sills. And so my current plan is to deal with that rot, but not spend a ton of money doing it because the windows will be replaced. So again, hopefully that's a good route to go. I realize that I'm coming to realize there are many different ways to do the things that I'm doing. And I just need to do my research, feel confident in my answers, and then make a decision and go with it, because I tend to be the type of person who wants to get everybody's opinion and find the best answer, but sometimes I think that really slows me down because there's more than one ways to do it. And so then I talk to one person and they say, oh yeah, don't do it that way, do it this way. And then I talk to somebody else and they're like, oh no, you can do it that way. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So not to just jump into things without researching and talking to people, but also at some point I just have to make decisions and go with them. And if they're the wrong decision, if they don't work out the way I hope to, I'm learning from them, hopefully. So yeah, so that's where I'm at, and that's my project for today, is to start working on some siding. But another project that I was buying supplies for is one that I haven't mentioned before. In the kitchen that I was working on taking boards off earlier this summer, the first room I started on, I found what I thought was just insulation under the double windows in that room. And I don't remember what made me wonder if it was asbestos, but I I did some research and it most certainly is asbestos. Now there's not a lot of it. It's like a loose fill kind of. It's not the fluffy fill that they sprayed in the 70s. That's just like a fibery fill. But it almost looks like large granules of sand, sort of. I'll show you what it looks like. But it's got all the characteristics of what you look for when you're looking for asbestos. So that's room has kind of been off limits this summer. I just haven't gone in there. I did go to Minnesota's, I can't even remember what website, but they have information on how to handle it. And basically if you're not disturbing it, so if you're not creating dust, if it's not creating dust, there's not a risk involved with asbestos, that type of asbestos. So I've just left that room alone. And the website through Minnesota State also gave descriptions of how to safely handle it. So I also bought a respirator yesterday. This is one meant for working with this type of issue. So I got that, and then you're also supposed to wear protective gear, like a jumpsuit. So there's my fashionable jumpsuit. And then you wear gloves and coverings on your shoes and everything. And then after you get it all cleaned up, it needs to go in a certain mill garbage bag, like a contractor grade garbage bag. And then it can be disposed of at a landfill that takes it. So that is a project to get done before, well, at some point. But definitely one that can be done on a colder day, since I'll be wearing a jumpsuit that will, you know, add some layers of warmth. So yeah, just thought I'd show you that. Something I'll be working on still this fall. But for today, I'm gonna get to work on this siding project. And as always, thanks for watching. All right, so I thought I'd show you a close-up of some of these boards. It is a little tricky as I look at them, trying to determine, okay, which board is beyond repair and just needs to be replaced, and what can be repaired. So let's see, I gotta set down what I've got here. Okay, so as I look at these boards here, this board, and this board are all generally in pretty good repair. Now this one here, you can see, is pretty dry and cracked, and when I push on it, it gives pretty well. It's pretty bad off, and then it goes all the way along. So it's not just one spot all the way down, it's the same. So that board will need to be replaced. But then you look at the one under it, it's a solid board. There's not really any cracks in it. There's a little crack down here, but that's one like I would fill. So that's kind of how I'm determining which ones I'm working on. Filled in a couple cracks. It's been a while, probably at least 45 minutes. They say to wait at least a half an hour. And so now I've started sanding some of them. This one here is sanded, and this one is sanded, but this one isn't. So I thought I'd show you kind of a close-up of the difference and how it looks once it gets sanded. So I think it's doing a decent job. Some of these spots will need another application just to smooth them out a little more, but it seems to be doing what it needs to do, so that's good.